Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope you will be safe at your home with the people you love. Today we will discuss, inshallah, the second part of the biostatic revision. First part we already discussed. With this, we will come to end of all revision from my side. Next week, inshallah, we will practice ASPI, and in the end of this month, the last week of this month, I will discuss with you, I will guide you what we expect from you in the Viva Voce. Now we start today's discussion. These are the learning objectives. Today's short lecture. You must, at the end of the lecture, you must be able to know what is sampling, what are various types of sampling, and in each sampling you must know the steps of that sampling. Then what is confidence interval? I have also given you the assignment of the confidence interval, and which you have to deposit by today by 11:59 p.m. And then you must know what is correlation and regression. These are the types of sampling. You can also sampling method. You can call also sampling techniques. One is the probability sampling, and second type is the non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, you give equal chance to every element in the study population to be included in your sample. Equal chance. You can't, and in this method you use various computer methods, your lottery method, your random number tables. So you give equal chance to every element in your study part to be included in the sample. In non-probability sampling, you do not give the equal chance. So this is the basic difference between probability sampling and non-probability sampling. In this, there is simple random sampling, in which you can adopt with the help of lottery method. You can generate a random number with the help of your computer. Then you can use the random number tables in statistical books. But for simple random sampling, you must have the sampling frame. Means you must have the list of all the people from which you want to take sample. For example, if you want to take sample from the fourth year MBBS class, for example, 100, there are total 100 students in fourth year MBBS class, and you want to take sample of 10, then you must assign the number to your whole class. It is from 1 to 100 already roll number assigned, and then with the after assigning this is called the sampling frame. Then of course you can use the lottery method, random number tables. You can use the computer generator random number, and then you can adopt this technique, simple random sampling. Systematic sampling, you take the select the elements in the sample in a systematic way. For example, you may select that I will study every third patient coming to the OPD of the hospital. I will study every fifth newborn infant born in the newborn in the hospital. Or you can use the sampling ratio. For example, in fourth year MBBS class, if there are 100 students, you want to take a sample of 10 systematically. What you will do, you will divide 100 by 10. Then it will come, sampling ratio will be 1:10, and then from between 1 and 10, you will what you will do, you take a random number, will pick a random number, and then every 10th number. For example, you may pick 5th number, and then every 10, 15, 25 like that. So these are two techniques. If you have sampling frame, then you can use the sampling ratio. If you don't have, you can go systematically. Stratified sampling, if the population consists of distinct strata or groups, then of course you will adopt this technique, stratified sampling. because you want equal representation of, for example, in fourth year class, there are 100 for example student, 70 girls, 30 boys, and you want a sample of 10, and you want equal representation. Then of course you will select 3 boys, 7 girls, but not with your own will, by randomly. And similarly, in the multi-stage sampling, you go in stages. First, you select cities, then tahsils, district, tahsils, and then districts, districts, then tahsils, then union council, villages. You go in stages. In cluster sampling, you select cluster. For example, for example, in the Howrah cantonment, you want to study the prevalence of dental caries in schools, and there are 100 schools, and you select randomly 3 schools, and in those 3 schools, you examine all the students in those schools. The 3 schools are called your clusters, first stage units. So this is normally cluster sampling we use in the EPI coverage and in contracept prevalence rate and any type of the health survey. Then non-probability sampling, convenience sampling, haphazard sampling, this is also called accident sampling. For example, you go OPD, you interview all the patients sitting there, you go to the library, you interview all the students sitting there. This is called convenient sampling. Purpose sampling based on some on some purpose. For example, we want to study all hypertensive patients, all diabetic patients. Then quota sampling, for example, this is similar to the stratified sampling, less randomization. There is no randomization. For example, in the quota sampling, there are from fourth year we want to select a sample of 10 out of 100. Then you will select 3 boys, 7 girls, because its ratio is 70% girls, 30% boys, and in 10 sample, and in sample of 10 students, of course, you will select, but you will not use it with your own convenience. And consecutive sampling normally used in the hospitals when the patients come at different stages, and you are included. You don't get sometimes patients, total patient at one time, and as the patients are coming, you are knowing your study. Snowball sampling or network sampling, when in some study of some sensitive issues, for example, drug abuse, HIV, or homosexuality, you can use this type of thing. You contact some people you know, and they then will tell you to other people. You approach them, into them, they will tell the other people. This is called snowball sampling and network sampling. Judgmental sampling is based on your experience. If you are very much experienced, you are professor, associate professor, and you have experience in the statistics, then you can use also judgmental sampling. Systematic sampling, we are using element in systematic way at regular intervals. For example, selecting every 5th patient admitted to a hospital or every 3rd infant born in a hospital. The starting point is chosen at random. Other method, when sampling frame is available, have the total number of units in the population, for example, 1000, decide the sample size, for example, 100, calculate sampling ratio, n by n. So sample 100 out of 1000, 110 ratio. Select randomly first unit out of first 10, then into select every kth unit, every 10th unit. For the first unit maybe 10, 4, then every 4th number will be selected, like 440. And systematic sample, for example, this example of system, if you have to select a sample of this 200, for example, this X-rays from a set of 3400 X-rays total. So for the first, we will divide 34 by 200, then which is 17. So every 17 X-ray is sampled. In this way, we will select the number of randomly from 1 to 17 first, and then every 17 X-ray selected. In this way, you select you do the systematic sampling. And then this is the exercise. While working in a medical ward, you have collected 500 patient file of hypertensive cases. You desire to undertake a systematic random sample 25 patient testing, where the work list the steps to do this. What we'll do, These are the various steps. First step, mark the 500 patient 001 to 500. Then step 2, find K, 500 by 20 by 20. Then take one digit from first 20 digits randomly, then suppose the digit is 7. Then step 4, pick the patients at uniform interval, as for example 7, 20, 7, 47, so on until you get the desired sample size. Stratified sampling used when populating distinct subgroups of data, age, region, gender, heterogeneous population. Population first divided into non-overlapping homogeneous subgroups called strata, and then simple random sample or systematic sampling taken from each stratum to ensure they are all adequately represented. The aggregated sample is called stratified random sample. So population may be stratified according to size, such as large, medium, small, to the geographic area, such as urban, rural, to the natural characteristics, age, gender, family size, occupation, education, etc. Second option for stratified selection of sample from various data is proportional location according to the size of strata. For example, if there are two strata A and B, and you want to strata A has 12 individuals and strata B has 8 individuals, then of course we want 25% sample, mean 25% of 20 will be 5. So you will like that number of individuals from strata A, 12 should be 3, and from strata B, 2, and then add them, and it becomes the random sample. Confidence interval is the interval of values. It includes upper limit, confidence limit, lower confidence limit, calculated on the basis of sample study results, by which we can say with certain degree of confidence, maybe 95% confidence interval, you may take 99%, that true value of population parameter be lying in this interval. It is calculated with the help of standard error. Normally for confidence interval, you require the standard error. Standard error formula you must know, the standard deviation divided by n under root. Normally two population value you don't know. For example, in the fourth year MBBS class, you select a sample of 10 students, you calculate their blood pressure, mean blood pressure, and you then calculate the 95% confidence interval. Then we will say that with 95% confidence, then if you study the whole population or the whole fourth year MBBS class, your mean blood pressure will lie in this range, in the 95%. 5%, there's still chance this may be outside this interval. These are the formulas. These must be memorized. Large sample size equal or greater than 30. For example, if this is in case of means. In case of proportion, we take large sample size 60 or above. But in case of means comparison, we take the 30. For example, 95% confidence interval, you confidence interval mean x bar plus minus z multiplied standard error. Z score, which is equivalent 95%, z value is 1.96. Mean plus minus 1.96, then multiply standard error. I already told you that for calculation of the standard, confidence interval, you need the standard error. Similarly, 99% confidence interval, mean plus minus 2.58 multiplied. This is the z value of the 95. For calculation purpose, you can take 2. You can multiply with 2 instead of 1.96. Similarly, you can multiply with 2.5. It will make not much difference. If there are smaller sample size, smaller than 30, then you would use the t value. If we assign you the this type of SEQ, then of course we will give you the t table also. But with this you don't need the t table. So this is also mean plus minus t value multiply standard. This is, for example, exercise in a predominantly rural district. It was found that the mean birth weight of infants was this 27.5 plus minus 50 grams in a sample of 14 newborn. Estimate the 95% confidence of the population mean is birth. You also need to interpret it also. Here you can see this is the mean, this is standard deviation. we write together as a summary measure. Wherever you write the mean, you always write standard deviation with it. So you know the mean, you know the standard deviation. This is the n, total number of newborn in your study. N is required to calculate the standard error, because for confidence interval you need standard error. How will you calculate the standard error? You will divide the standard deviation divided by n under root. This is standard deviation, n under root. So this is the how you will calculate sample mean 27, 50 grams, sample standard deviation this, sample size 14, 95% mean plus minus t multiplied standard error. Because sample size less than 30, you will give t value. Value of t is usually taken n minus 1, that is 13, and then you can see in the statistical table 13 is the degree of freedom. Against the 13 degree of freedom, the t value is 2.16. So 95% confidence interval will be this is the mean plus minus this is t value multiply standard error. This is standard deviation divided by n under root. So this will be the value. This is the lower limit of the confidence interval. You will see that your interpretation will do like this. With 95% you are confident, your actual population will lie between this 19 mean value of lie will with this range, but in 5% cases it will still lie outside this value. This is how will you interpret. This is the but if you are sample size is more than 30, then you don't need the t value. Here you insert the z value. Z value in 95% counter 1.96 or 2 multiply standard error, and this mean, and then how will you calculate. So I have already given you the assignment. This is the t table. Normally we don't give the SCQ like, then we have to give the t table also with the SCQ. This is 13 degree of freedom, and against this the t value 0.05% t value is 2.16. Now this is the another topic, techniques to find the relationship between x and y. X means independent variable, y is dependent variable. Correlation and regression. So these are two techniques. Correlation, you see the relationship between two quantitative variables. It also tells you the not only relation, strength of correlation and direction of relationship, but between two quantitative variables, not qualitative. In qualitative, you apply the chi-square test. And in the regression analysis, if you know the value of one variable and you want to find out the value of other variable, then use the regression techniques. This is also called prediction. How good you are independent variable predictor of the outcome variable. You can use the simple linear regression in one independent variable, one dependent variable. You can use the multiple linear regression in which you use the multiple independent variables and one just dependent variable is just one. So this is linear relationship you see between two quantitative variables measured down the same individual, for example, height and weight. And diagram used in the correlation is the scatter diagram. It gives the strength as well as the direction of the relationship between two variables x and y. Correlation coefficient simply expresses the strength and direction relationship between two variables, providing the relationship linear. Values are measured on the same individual. Then value of r vary from -1 to +1. The strength of relationship is indicated by the size of coefficient and direction by the sign. R plus means perfect or strong positive correlation. For example, education, correlation between education and income. If the education increase, income also increase, height increase, weight is also increase. -1 means strong or perfect negative correlation. For example, exercise and weight, here exercise increase, weight decrease. One thing is increasing, other size is decreasing. Cigarette consumption increase, the age at death is decreasing. R0 means no linear association or relationship between two variables. X and Y. For example, height and success in medical school, the number of months the person has an exercise machine and their height. It has no correlation at all. R beyond R correlation coefficient plus minus 0.5 usually regard a strong correlation between 0 to plus minus 0.5 is regarded weak association or weak correlation. Correlation coefficient usually dimensionless. It has no units of measurements. For example, this is the degree of correlation. I may show, I usually show these type of the graphs in the Viva, and these are not shown to you. You have to explain. So this is the strong positive correlation. Points are very close, both are increasing. Strong negative correlation. Then this is the weak correlation. But there's positive correlation. One is increasing, other is also increasing. This is the moderate negative correlation. One is increasing, other is decreasing. One increasing, other is decreasing. Similarly, this is there is no correlation here. Here is weak negative correlation. This is moderate negative, moderate negative. So you have to interpret these types of diagrams you showed in the Viva. Regression, if we wish to know an individual case, the value of one variable, knowing the value of the other variable, we calculate the regression coefficient on one measurement to the other. Regression is a technique that can be used to investigate the effect of one or more predictor variables on the outcome variable. Regression allows you to make statements about how well one or more independent variable will predict the value, how much they are good in predicting the value of the dependent variable. For example, these are types of the regression: linear regression, simple linear regression, where is the dependent variable x, y, independent variable x. Equation is y is equal to a plus bx. A constant, b is the regression coefficient or slope, x is the value of independent variable, y is dependent variable. So multiple linear regression where dependent variable one, independent variable is more than one. These are equations you must be able to interpret it. Equation of regression line expected value y is equal to a plus bx. A is constant. It is the value of y when x is 0. Intercept constant is also called. Point on the axis where y-axis is intercepted by regression line for a given value. X. Y is the value of the y called dependent outcome or response variable. It is value we expect for y if we know the value of x, and it's called the fitted value of y. B is called the slope of regression line, or regression. It is also called the regression coefficient. The slope is the amount of change in average when x increases by 1 unit. The slope of straight line is constant. Slope 0 means no linear relationship between variable x and y. Change in x has no effect on y. This is regression line of the best fit. This is also called line of best fit. Regression coefficient b or beta is a measure of change in one dependent variable character with 1 unit change in the independent variable, that is x. What is coefficient determination? It represents the proportional variability in the dependent variable that is accounted for by regression line. The value of r square change ranges from 0 to 1. For example, you want to study the current salary of the person with the education level, with his experience, or the independent variable. Now you will see how much this contributed, these independent variables, in the variation of his salary. For example, 70%, you will say 70% in the variation in the salary due to these two independent variables. There 30% may be other factors. So this is the amount of variation that is explained by the regression line, but independent variable in the dependent variable or outcome variable. So today's lecture is short. Thank you very much. That's all for today. I have already given you the assignment for today. And remember that all these assignments, including MCQ quizzes, so far I have given you, they will be included in the internal evaluation, medical education department has already asked all the department to submit their assessment on online assignments or quizzes. So whatever you have performed, it will be included in your internal assessment. So next week, so far we have revised the whole syllabus, Alhamdulillah. And next week we will discuss, inshallah, ASPI, few ASPI questions, and we will meet, inshallah, next Monday on the same time. If you have a query of today's lecture, you can contact me through WhatsApp, your WhatsApp group. I am available. I answer every student who approach me, whether through group or individually. So that is my habit. So if any help, I am ready. Thank you very much.